All right, we are live. Hello to whoever just joined. We'll wait just a few more minutes for other people to join, and then we will get started for tonight's yin restorative practice. All right, today I've got some props with me. I've got rolled up blanket as a bolster. I have another just regular blanket in case I get chilly, and then I have some pillows. I'm gonna slide this mat back a little bit so it's more in frame. Oh, I also have my Harry Potter block book for today. So make sure you gather all of the props that you think you're gonna need, and we'll get started in just a moment here. Hope everyone's having a good Thursday so far. It's been cold. It snowed here today in good old upstate New York, but the sun was out, so I guess can't complain. Hopefully everything in Chicago is good. I'm missing it for sure. Just a few more minutes and we will get started. All right, it is 6 p.m., so we will get started. Let's go ahead and start off with a little centering. So I'm going to prop this blanket underneath my hips. You can pop a pillow under, whatever you need. Sometimes it feels good to just have a little lift in the hips and find a comfortable position for your legs. Find your head above your heart above your hips. Bring the shoulders all the way up to the ears. Squeeze the shoulder blades all the way back and let them drop. Hands resting either palms down or palms up, depending on what you need tonight, on your knees. Let your eyes either come to a soft gaze in front of you or flutter all the way closed. Start to bring the attention inward. Letting everything, the room around you, anything you might be carrying with you, just melt away. Anything that we don't need for this next hour, let it go. Because everything you need should be right here on your mat. Take a quick scan of the body, starting with the crown of the head and moving all the way to the toes. Just check in with yourself. Is anything feeling any different than it felt yesterday or the last time you came to your mat? Relax your eyebrows, your temples, your jaw. Start to bring your attention to the breath, the inhales and the exhales. No need to change anything just yet. Just take note. Are your inhales longer, shorter than your exhales? Maybe they're the same. If there's a discrepancy between the inhales and the exhales, go ahead and start to even them out. Lengthen whichever is shorter to match the longer. Let's deepen the breath by just 1 second. Filling the belly with every inhale. Belly button moves back toward the spine on the exhale to completely empty out your diaphragm. Inhale, fill the belly, diaphragm drops toward the ground. Exhale, belly button back toward the spine. On your next inhale, fill the belly. Belly fills with air, diaphragm drops toward the ground, and then fill your rib cage or fill that area to let your rib cage expand. Exhale, collapse the ribs and bring the belly button back toward the spine. You can even put your fingers on your ribs to feel it. Inhale, fill the belly, drop the diaphragm, and let the ribs expand. Exhale, ribs collapse, belly button to spine in a 2-part breath. Inhale, fill the belly, fill the rib cage. Exhale, ribs collapse, belly button to spine. We'll add 1 more part. Inhale, fill the belly, drop the diaphragm. Rib cage expands. Breathe all the way up to your clavicle. Sternum lifts slightly. Exhale from the top in 3 parts. Ribs all the way down. We'll take a few cycles of breath here. This 3-part breath, starting by filling the belly, expanding the ribs with breath, and filling all the way up to the clavicle. And exhaling from the top all the way down. On your next inhale, continue with your 3-part breath. Fill the low belly, expand the ribs all the way up to the clavicle, and then hold for 3 seconds before exhaling in your 3-part breath. We'll do just a few cycles here, holding the breath at the top. Wherever you are in your breath, exhale all of your air out. And with your eyes still closed, come back to a regular breathing pattern. Do a little check-in here. Are you feeling any different than you felt when you first sat down today? Maybe yes, maybe no. Is your breath your natural breath pattern a little deeper. Again, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. This is just a moment to check in. And let your eyes flutter all the way open. Let's start to bring some gentle movement to the body before we move into our yin and restorative postures. Let's start with a little movement of the shoulders. Shoulders come all the way up to the ears, like at the beginning. Squeeze the shoulder blades back behind you and let them drop. Take another one of those. Ears all the way back, shoulder blades kiss behind you and drop. One more time. And kiss in the back and drop. Inhale, lift the arms all the way up to the ceiling. Exhale, arms float down, reaching all the way out in opposite directions. Inhale, arms float up. Exhale, hands come out and down. Oh, my Alexa just thought that I was calling her. Inhale, arms back up. And exhale, float back down. Inhale, lift your arms up. This time, exhale, drop your right arm to the right side and lean across for a side body stretch. Plant the left hip point down into the ground as you reach over. Maybe come down to that forearm if it feels good. Let's take some scooping movements here. Scoop the front arm all the way down in front and then back up. And we'll take a few of these on the breath. Exhale down. Inhale back up. Exhale, scoop. Inhale up. Scoop down. This time stay down. We're going to crawl the hands all the way over to the front. Rest here for just a moment. Let your forehead come down toward the floor. You can come up onto your fingertips, doming the middle of your palm. Engage your forearms. And we'll crawl over to the other side. Right arm, left arm planted, right arm coming up and over. Plant that right hip down into the mat or your blanket if you're sitting on it. Option again here to drop to that forearm, but only if it feels good. And let's take some scooping motions. Exhale, scoop that arm down. Inhale, swoop back up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Take a few more here. This should feel really good to open that chest up, open the side body up. And on your next exhale, come all the way around. We're going to rest in the front again. Stretch and then slowly, using your hands, roll yourself all the way back up to a seated position. We're going to remove your prop from underneath you if you took one and come to a neutral tabletop. Knees under hips, wrists under shoulders. We'll take a few cat-cows here. Inhale, drop the belly for cow. Chest shines forward, hip points move back and up. Exhale, curl through the spine, chin to chest, tailbone tucked. Take a few of these on your own breaths, keeping those deep breaths that we worked on in the beginning to find some natural movement. You can stay in traditional cat-cow, or you can start to get a little creative. Maybe take your cat-cow from side to side. Maybe take it back down through baby cobra, sitting your hips down toward your heels. You can rock the hips side to side, whatever you need right here. Sometimes I like to just see if I can touch every piece of air around me, every angle, every molecule of air. let's take a puppy here. Drop your elbows down to where your wrists are and sit the hip points back. Let your chest drop toward the ground. And come on back up. Beautiful. Tuck your toes underneath, and we'll come up into our first and only downward facing dog. Sit your hips all the way back, press into your knuckles, and slowly push your hip points back and up. Bend into the left leg, then bend into the right leg. Beautiful, yogis. Go ahead, bend both knees, lift your hip points back and up, press in through your fingers to lengthen the spine, and then drop the heels back down toward the mat. Look toward your hands and walk your feet behind your wrists. Take a ragdoll pose here. Reach for opposite elbows. Your knees can be slightly bent. Hips are like a hinge. Everything from the hips up, or down rather, in this position should be completely loose. Just dead weight. And shake your head, yes. Shake your head, no. Shake your head, maybe. Go ahead, bend the knees slightly and roll all the way up. Vertebrae, stacking on vertebrae. Head and neck, last thing to come up. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way up to the ceiling. Exhale, we'll swan dive all the way back down, hinging at the hips, forward fold. Give yourself a little hug here. You can even wrap your hands around the backs of your legs if it feels good. Let's take a halfway lift here. Plant the hands either on the shins or on the thighs. Normally, the floor is an option too, but since this is restorative and we're just warming up, let's really focus on finding length here. The crown of the head pushes toward the front of the mat, tailbone reaching toward the back of the mat. And drop the hands all the way down. We'll step back into a plank briefly and then drop the knees to the mat. Beautiful, yogis. So we're going to get started with the yin restorative portion of class. If you've taken it with me before, awesome. I'm welcome back. If you've never done yin or restorative before, we'll be holding the poses for 3 to 5 minutes each. Yin is a deep stretch, yoga, and restorative is a deep relaxation form of yoga, and we'll be doing a little fusion of that today. So let's get started. So we're going to start with broken toe pose. And you're going to start on your knees and tuck your toes under here. Sometimes it feels good to use a prop in this one, and I'll show you how to do that. So at the base of it, you're going to sit all the way up. Keep your head above your heart above your hips, and your hips are resting on your heels. Remember, those toes are tucked under, so this is really going to be a stretch through the toes. If it's too intense or you need a little extra cushioning, which I always do, you can place a pillow or a block or a prop here to lessen that. If you want blocks on either side too, that's another option to hold on. We're going to hang out here for a hot second, so get comfy and know that this one might get a little intense. Keep your face soft, your jaw loose. No tension in the eyebrows or the temples. Let the shoulders drop down at your sides. If anything's feeling intense, know that you can always come back to your breath, focusing on the inhales, the exhales, the rise and the fall of the belly with each one. You need to come out of it and then come back into it. Know your body, know your limits, but also know that this is one that is going to be a little intense. And if it's not, then I'm very, very jealous of you. Beautiful yogis. Start to roll forward. Drop your hands on the mat. You can remove any prop or pillow. Flip your toes back and tap the tops of your feet on the mat to dissipate any tension that might have manifested during that. Beautiful. We're going to take a pose in a forward fold in Baddha Konasana. So I like to sit up on a pillow for this one as well for a lift in the hips. If you've got a tighter low back or tighter hamstrings, sometimes this makes it easier to stay in form and keep your body upright. So bring the soles of your feet together. A few options here. If you want it to be more restorative, go ahead and prop pillows underneath your knees and stack your props up in front of you. If you want it to be more yin, you can still do those, but make sure in restorative, you want to feel like there's an ultimate relaxation. So when you're in an uncomfortable position, you can't really relax. But if you want more of a stretch, you can challenge yourself a little more and just lean down into it and place a prop closer to the ground. So we'll get started and we'll be in there for about 3 to 5 minutes. So get comfy, find yourself a pose you can hold for that long. Again, if you want to take it in more of a deep stretch fashion, go ahead. And if you want to take it in more of a restorative fashion, make sure you're propped up enough to where you can fully relax in the pose. Take a moment and check in with yourself. Do you need to remove a block or a prop? Do you need to add a block or a prop? Has anything opened up for you? Or maybe a position you took wasn't as comfortable as you anticipated, go ahead and make any changes now so that you can relax into the second half of this posture. Wherever you are, start to slowly walk yourself back up to a seated position. Remove your props. You can remove whatever you're sitting on. Go ahead, pop your feet out in front of you, hands planted behind you. And let the knees drop from side to side. Beautiful, yogis. We're going to move into our next posture. So plant your knees. We'll start with a tabletop. Let's actually take a cat-cow in between before we start. Inhale, drop the belly. Exhale, curl through the spine. We're going to come all the way up to both knees. Take your right leg and plant it down on the ground in front of you. So you're down on one knee. Square your hips manually with your hands. And then place both hands on top of your front thigh. We're going to lean forward. This is going to stretch the left hip flexors. If you need to scoot the front foot forward a little bit, go ahead. We're not in this one for super long. If you lose your balance, that's okay. Just feel that stretch in the hip flexor. Beautiful. Go ahead, plant your left hand on the mat. Let your hips come a little bit back towards center and place your hand on the right hip. Start to lean over onto the outside of the right foot. I don't know if you can see. So your left hand is on the ground. Your right hand is on your right hip. And you're leaning it over onto the side. So instead of being flat on your foot, you're rolling onto the side. Again, we're not here for long. You should feel that right on the outside of the right hip. Roll back into center here. Press into both hands and step that back leg to meet the right leg, or the right leg to meet the left leg, and we'll be back in tabletop. Take a moment here, rock the hips from side to side. Beautiful, yogis. And then we'll move, come all the way back up to both knees. Plop the left foot out in front. Hands come to the top of the left thigh, and we'll move forward to stretch into those right hip flexors. Once again, we are not here for long. If you need to move that front foot forward a little bit, go ahead. Beautiful. Plant the right hand down onto the mat. Plant the left hand in the left hip, right on the left hip, and start to roll over to the outer edge of the left foot. We're not here for much longer. Roll back into center. Plant the left hand, come on back into our tabletop position. Step back like your feet back into a plank and lower all the way down to the belly. Bring your right leg out to the side. So your knee is out to the side of you and it's bent, so you're at like a 90-degree angle. Go ahead, place the left ear on the mat. You can let your hands come to the sides. You can stack like we normally do, one hand on top of the other, rest the ear on top of that hand. Whatever feels good here. Feel that hip sinking into the ground, not because you're pushing it there, but because that's what gravity does. Feel the ground there to support you. You have about a minute left here. See if you can just find one more thing to relax, one more thing to let go of. Beautiful, yogis. Bring your back leg, your right leg, out to meet the left leg and extend your right arm out to the side. So it's going to go straight out to the side, like if you were to make a T with both arms, but only one arm is doing it. Plant so the left arm straight out to the side. Your right arm is going to plant into the ground right next to you as you push your body to roll back onto that left shoulder. You can use the leg to prop yourself up, so your leg can be planted behind you, hand planted in front of you as you slowly roll onto that shoulder. Listen to your body today. This might be really intense for some. This might be really easy for other people. Everyone has a different balance of what parts of their body are more mobile than others. So make sure you're listening to your body and you're stopping when your body's telling you it's enough. If you feel like you need a little more, let the weight of your knee fall back to pull your body to open that pec up. Beautiful, yogis. Start to roll back over all the way onto the stomach. And we'll creep that left leg now all the way out to the side. Knee comes out at a right angle. You can let your hands just be at your sides, or if you want to take one hand stacked on top of the other, you can. Just make sure you stack a different one on top than you did last time. And go ahead, turn your right cheek to the mat or the tops of your hands. Let go of anything you might have had some tension come up in during that last pose, maybe in the shoulders. Let go of any tension that might have crept up in the jaw, and the eyebrows. Feel those hips sinking into the mat. Let go of anything you're holding in your inner thigh. All right, yogis, start to slide your left leg back out to meet your right. And let your right arm come all the way out to the side. Plant the left hand and use it as leverage to press your torso back toward that right shoulder, opening the pec up. You can bring your left leg all the way back to plant on the ground behind your leg. Remembering to always listen to your body and listen to what limitations are there for you today. Check in with how this side might feel a little different from the other side. Maybe one side's tighter. Start to roll all the way back over onto your stomach. Both legs are long in front of you. And let's come to a Sphinx pose. So snuggle your elbows right into the sides of your rib cages. Fingers are spread wide and planted, palms down on the mat in front of you. Feel your pelvis sinking toward the mat. And if this is enough for you, we're going to hang out here. If you want a little more, go ahead, pop all the way up to King Cobra. Planting hands down on the mat, shoulder blades coming together and down the back. Pelvis, hips, weighing heavy into the mat. Tuck the chin just slightly to elongate the back of the neck. And we're not here for long, so try to find some softness in the face and breathe. See if you can relax your legs while you're here. They're going to want to activate. When you're ready, if you've come to Cobra, lower or King Cobra, lower back down into Sphinx. And then let's all of us come all the way down. Forehead can come to the tops of your hands or to the mat. Knees bend. And let's rock the feet from side to side, releasing the lower back. Beautiful. You can press yourself back up onto your knees and find a tabletop position. Now make sure you've got your props close to you here. We're going to take a sleeping swan, or in an active vinyasa class, we'd call it pigeon pose. So lift your right leg up. If you'd rather take this from down dog, you can, but I like to take it in a restorative or a yin class from tabletop. Slide the right ankle behind the left wrist and crawl the left leg backward. Take a moment here to set up. If you have any space at all between this hip and the floor, go ahead, slide the pillow right underneath. You want to stay squared. The pillow is used as a tool to lift the hip up to keep the right and the left hip square. So you want them to feel level. One hip shouldn't be higher or lower than the other, and weight should not be, it should be evenly distributed. From here, we're going to put our pigeons or our swans to sleep. Walk your hands out in front of you. You can prop yourself up, get some good props so you can lay comfortably here for a few minutes. We're going to be here for a while. So get comfortable, find a position that's sustainable for you. Maybe use props, maybe your hands or fists, maybe you have to stay up on your forearms and put blankets underneath you, and that's okay too. Whatever's comfortable here. Just make sure you do take the time to make it comfortable, because if you don't, this is going to be a long pose. We're not here for much longer. See if there's just one more thing you can let go of here. Maybe something's changed for you. Maybe something's opened up. Check in. Readjust if you need to. And slowly start to walk your hands to either side of you. Let yourself come all the way up. Remove all the props in front of you. Remove any prop you've placed under your hip. And roll all the way to put all your weight on that right hip. So sitting on the right hip, the right thigh, swing the left leg all the way around. So I'll turn to face you so you can see me. You're going to bring the left leg over top, over to the outside of the right thigh. Squeeze the knee into the chest for a hug. And as you're squeezing that knee in, manually take the left hand and press that left hip down toward the mat. In an ideal world here, we'd have equal weight in both hips while the leg is here. You don't have to be there today, but that's just the direction we're working toward. Find length in the spine. If this is enough, hang out here. If you want to go a little further, plant the left hands just behind the low back. You can come up onto the fingertips. Bring the right hand to the side. And bring it all the way up and over so that the right arm is resting on the outside of the left thigh. Find length in the spine and exhale to twist just gently toward the left. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist. Super easy to crank here. No need to crank it. Just use the arm as gentle leverage. Beautiful. Turn all the way back toward the right side. Give a little bow. Reach the forehead toward the mat for a counter stretch. Flop both legs in front of you, hands planted behind you. Take a little windshield wiper here. Knees drop from side to side. And then let's move back into our tabletop position, and we'll take sleeping swan or pigeon on the left side. So lift the left leg up. Then bring the left ankle behind the right wrist. Walk that right leg backward. Again, if the hip comes off the ground at all, pop a pillow, pop a blanket underneath to square those hips. And lengthen the spine, and then we'll put our pigeons to sleep. Using a prop if you need it. If you don't want one, you don't have to use it. Sometimes it just feels good, and you can relax better into the pose with it. Slowly start to walk your hands to come all the way back up. Remove your props. You can take whatever is under your hip out from underneath. Roll all the way onto that left hip and guide the right leg so the right foot is on the outside of the left thigh. From here, hug the knee into the chest. Take the right hand, manually push the right hip down toward the ground. If this is enough, you can hang out here. If you want a little more, plant the right fingertips behind your low back. And you can, in doing this, if you engage the fingertips, engage the arm, it's like a little backrest for you almost. I mean, I wouldn't lean on it, but bring the left hand all the way to the side, and we'll bring it all the way up and over so the left arm is on the outside of the right thigh. Inhale, find length in the spine. Exhale, twist to the right. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, gentle twist. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, gentle twist. We'll inhale back to center. Take a little bow to the opposite side. Forehead to mat. Unwind the legs. Plant the hands behind you. It's like a little windshield wiper action here. And we're going to slowly roll all the way down to your back. Bring your knees into your chest and give them a gentle squeeze. From here, we're going to drop your knees all the way over to the right side. So your knees are still stacked, and you can open your shoulders or your arms up to either a T or goalpost arms with the elbows bent. Gaze falls up on the ceiling or toward your left fingertips for just a gentle twist here. Release anything you're holding on to in your inner thighs. It's okay if your legs slide apart from each other slightly. Let your shoulders melt into the mat. Heart open, face soft. Gently guide your knees back into your chest. Give them another squeeze, giving yourself a hug. A little self-love today. And then let your knees drop all the way over to the left side. Arms again coming out to either a T or goalpost arms. Release your jaw, release your thighs, your hips. We're almost to the end of class. If there's anything else you're holding on to, this is your time to let it go. Gently guide your knees back into your chest for one final squeeze. And then we'll set up for a restorative final Shavasana. Option here to take legs up the wall, to take whatever you feel like you need for this final resting position. If you need a little more opening of the hips, you can take a Supta Baddha Konasana here. But I'm just going to offer up a traditional restorative Shavasana. So pop pillows under each knee, feet splayed out. You can lay all the way back. Cover yourself up in a blanket if you feel like you need to get a little more cozy, if you're cooling down. Really set yourself up so you can be at your ultimate relaxation here. You can fully surrender to this final Shavasana. Palms facing up, shoulders melted into the mat. Eyes are gently closed. Any tension in the fingers or toes dissolves. Anything in the ankles, the calves, your inner thighs, your glutes, let it go. Release your abdominals, your ribs, your pecs. Everything melts into the ground as the earth supports you. while you fully surrender. Final Shavasana is yours for as long as you'd like it. Feel free to stay in your final Shavasana. And if you're ready to be guided out, go ahead and bring some gentle movement to your fingers and to your toes. Rock your head from side to side. Make some circles with the wrists and the ankles. When you're ready, sweep the hands up overhead for a long full body stretch. Arms and legs reach in opposite directions. Let out a sigh if that feels good. Roll over to your left or right side, using your bicep as a pillow in fetal position. Final Shavasana marks the death of our practice, and fetal pose represents the new life that we bring out onto our mats and into the world. Using the strength of your hands, press yourself all the way back up to a comfortable seated position, palms together at heart center. The love, the light, the teacher and the student in me honors the love, the light, the teacher and the student in you. Bring your thumbs to third eye center and bow forward. Namaste. Thank you so much for practicing with me tonight. I'm so grateful to have people on the feed and whoever's watching it on the playback for you as well. I hope everyone has a great Thursday night and feels maybe a little more relaxed and open now. So have a great night, everybody.